Hello and welcome to the Everything Art Podcast, episode 31. So if you don't know already, we're doing a series where every single day I'm going to post a video where we read a chapter in Matthew, and we are getting so close to being done with Matthew. We only have 3 chapters left, and today we are going to read chapter 26. And chapter 26 and 27 are pretty long, so bear with me, but there's a lot that's about to go down in these 3 chapters. So chapter 26 is all about the Last Supper, and Jesus gets arrested for what they think is blasphemy, but like he's guilty for nothing. So yeah, so get your Bibles and let's get straight to reading. And it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified." So the feast of the Passover is an annual Jewish feast commemorating when the Israelites got delivered by God from slavery in Egypt and were free from that, and God freed them. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the place of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety and kill him. But they said, "Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people." So, since the feast day, like when there's, it's kind of chaos, they said not to do it then because they don't really want anybody to find out there, and they don't want riots and all that stuff. So they decided not to do it during the feast, or the day of the feast. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, and he sat at the table. But when the disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, "To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor." And Jesus understood it. He said to them, "Why trouble this woman? For she has wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you do not have always. For in that she has poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say to you, whosoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman had done, she told for a memorial of her." So Jesus is saying that right now, in the moment, he's on this earth, and we're not going to have him always on this earth. So to do a good work to him is actually a blessing. It's kind of amazing to do that. And he also says that she did it for my burial. But so Jesus kind of interprets this good act and kind of changes it and focuses it towards his burial. He's explaining another purpose for it in a way, and he's just kind of reminding them what's going to happen pretty much too. Then one of the 12, called Jesus Iscariot, went unto the priests and said to them, "What will you give me, and I deliver him to you?" And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. So this is where Judas is planning to betray Jesus for money, pretty much. And from the time he saw opportunity to betray him. Now the first day of the feast was of unleavened bread. The disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, "Where will you that we prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go to the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples." So what's really cool is God does have a plan. God has a plan in this moment. And and the disciples were saying, like, where are we going to have this Passover feast and everything? And Jesus is saying, go to this man and say, my time is at hand, and he'll allow you in. It just shows that God has a plan and everything works out into God's plan. And the disciples did as Jesus appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the evening was come, he sat down with the 12, and as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dips his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Jesus, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? And he said to him, You said it. Like, Jesus confirms it right there. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed it, and broke it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, Take this is my body. So right here is like, the bread represents his body. It's not literally his body, but it represents his body. And the drink that he gives represents his blood and the New Testament and the remission for sins and everything. And we're going to read that. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many of the remissions of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said unto them, All you be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, and will go before you into Galilee. So he's saying that the disciples this night will abandon him, and where it says, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. That's another symbolization with the shepherd and sheep. Jesus is our shepherd, and we are the sheep. And it also goes back to Zechariah 13:7. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of you, yet will I never be offended. That's what Peter says. And Jesus said to him, Verily I say unto you, that this night, before the cock crows, or the rooster crows, you shall deny me 3 times. And Peter said to him, Though I should die with you, yet will I not deny you. Likewise also said all the disciples. And it just shows that even though, like, they see things one way, God has another plan, and it's not going to work out how they think it's going to work out. Then comes Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, or Gethsemane, I don't know, and said to his disciples, Sit here while I go pray over there. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. And said he unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Stay here and watch with me. And he went a little farther, and he fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. So right here you could see, like, everything is really just crushing Jesus right now, and he's really, like, feeling everything, feeling sorrowful and everything. And he's just begging the Father to take this suffering from him. And it shows again here, the cup. He said, just let this cup pass from me. And the cup means, like, his suffering and everything. And it just shows that Jesus suffered a lot, you know. And when we go through things and suffer, it's not like, oh, why am I the only one that's suffering? No, Jesus went through a lot of suffering too. And he constantly had faith in the Father, and plan worked out. So, and he comes to the disciples and finds them asleep, and said to him, unto Peter, what, could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation, but the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So this is a good reminder to pray, not like to enter not into temptation, because temptation can be so tempting, and we need the strength to not fall into it. And right here he says the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. I think about this verse a lot, just knowing that, like, my spirit wants to do so much. My spirit wants to, like, follow God and everything, but then the flesh has all these temptations, wants to turn away from God and do, like, my own plan, my own way, but that's just going to lead to destruction. And we have to pray for a filling in spirit and over the flesh, and not to fall into those temptations. He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, let your will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then comes he to his disciples and said to them, Sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise and let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me. So this is where Jesus will be arrested. A lot is happening in this chapter. And while yet he spoke, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came with him a great multitude, and swords and staves from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them the sign, saying, Whosoever I shall kiss, the same that he hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Jesus and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said to him, Friend, wherefore are you come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And behold, one of them were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. And later we find in the Gospel of John that was Peter who did that. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Think you that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? He's just saying, like, this has to be fulfilled. In the same hour said Jesus to the multitudes, Are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves? For the two take me. I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. So he's saying, like, he taught them, he taught in front of them, them in the temple and everything, and they didn't arrest him at all or anything like that. He's saying this is a work of God. This is why this is all happening, so that the scriptures could be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace, and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and the elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet they found none. So they found nothing wrong with Jesus. At the last came 2 false witnesses and said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. And this is referring to Jesus' death and resurrection. And the high priest arose and said to him, Answer you nothing? What is it which these witness against you? But Jesus held his peace, and And the high priest answered and said to him, I adjure you by the living God that you tell us whether you be the Christ, the Son of God. And Jesus said unto him, You have said it. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter shall you see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. So Jesus will be the ultimate authority over humanity, and these people just won't accept it right now. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He hath spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered and said, He is guilty of death. Then they spit on his face and striked him, hit him, and struck him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy unto us, you Christ, who is he that smote us? Now Peter sat outside the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, You also was with Jesus the Galilee. But he denied it for them all, saying, I know not what you say. So this is Peter's first denial. Then he was gone out into the porch. Another maid saw him, and said unto him, that were there this fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied it with an oath, saying, I do not know the man. So this time Peter denied it even with an oath, and Jesus said not to do that. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely you also are one of the men, for your speech bewrayeth thee. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard that word before, bewrayeth. Then began he to curse and swear oaths, saying, I know not the man, and immediately the rooster crowed. So that was a third denial, and he was swearing a bunch of oaths and everything, like Jesus said not to do. And it just really shows the power of forgiveness too, because Jesus did something that God would say, deny him 3 times, but he even swore oaths, and he wasn't supposed to do that. But later on, Jesus does forgive him. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, Before the cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly. And it just shows how bad he felt for doing that. He said he would stay by Jesus and not deny him and everything, and then he realized he did deny him 3 times, and he probably felt really bad for that. So in this chapter, a lot goes on, and we just show everything happening, God's plan unfolding, and we're getting really close to the crucifixion, the moment we're all dreading. But it's just out of love that God did that. Jesus chose to come down to this earth and humble himself and die on the cross out of love, because he loves us so much and he wants to be with us. And just knowing that is it's pretty awesome. But we don't deserve one bit of his love at all. And he didn't deserve anything that he went through. And whenever we're suffering, he would rather probably go through our suffering every single day than what he had to go through, with all the weight of the sin on him from the beginning of time to even the future of sin. And that's a lot of sin. That's a lot of suffering. He went through spiritual suffering, physical suffering too, and he didn't deserve any of it, and he did it for us. That's pretty awesome. And it's just, it's a crazy thing to think about. It's something that we'll never fully understand. We'll never fully understand God's love, or anything of this, pretty much anything of his word. We'll never fully understand any of it, but just to accept it and know that there's somebody who loves you unconditionally and would do literally anything to give their only son to die on the cross just to save us is pretty awesome. So, yeah, chapter 27 is the crucifixion, and that will be tomorrow. Chapter 27 is really long too. But yeah, I hope you guys liked chapter 26. There's a lot of heavy stuff in chapter 26 and 27 to come. If you have any questions, anything to add, you know what to do. Just comment it down below. I pray you guys have an amazing, blessed day. And just today, focus on God's love. Like, even if you think negatively about something or suffering or anything like that, think about what Jesus had to go through today and kind of humble yourself and realize his love and just rely on him today. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for chapter 27. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.